All right, good morning, folks. We're going to continue working on Spelljammer Combat and Exploration artwork today. We're building, we have a random system generator as our first appendix, so we're going to dive back into those pages and keep building plain Spelljammer environments, Bob Ross style in a fantasy world. So give me a second here to check my signal, and I'll go through my intro, and then we'll get to work here for a couple hours. So let's see. I am looking for the live stream. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Live. All right, there it is. Good. Let's see. I'm going to press some buttons here real quick, and then we'll get into this. If you're here in the future, hey future. And you've seen my intros before, you know who I am, you know what I'm doing, and you want to skip ahead, that's cool. If you're catching me here live streams today, right now, hi. And if you're in the future, you don't know what it is that we got going on here. Well, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition here for the past 5 years. And I have created a slew of different books that I published on DMsGuild.com. There's descriptions to them there's links to them in the description down below, and they all have extensive free previews. So if you're here for artwork, there's probably about 150 different illustrations inside the books that if you click on the free previews and open them up, you can see the different art that I do, which will continue here today as well. If you're here for game mechanics and 5e stuff, I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 as a DM in about 200 to 250 hours. The things that I publish on DM's Guild are tools and concepts that either evolved during the course of one of my campaigns that we fleshed out and then put into a book, or I want to run a type of campaign and I need these mechanics to make it work properly. Spelljammer happens to be both. So I'm going to switch screens here, and we're gonna, let's see, bop, 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 there we go. Let's see, I have a Discord channel now that I hang out in. There's a description down below. You can hang out with me here. We talk about color mana, we talk about martial powers, we talk about Spelljammer. I'm running an Eberron adventure, and you're gonna be seeing Kickstarters and stuff for the in-command system for armies, guilds, and kingdoms using actual 5e mechanics in a mass combat system. You're going to see that coming up here. We've been playtesting it for a couple years now, and it's fantastic. I just need to get into a book. Reddit, shout out to the Reddit community, our Spelljammer, for being in so much support of the different concepts and ideas that we have in this Spelljammer supplement that we're creating. You can follow me at Phil Kearney if you're still on the Twitter X platform. So best way to support the channel is like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when I'm live. I am live 6 days a week, about 9 times throughout the course of the week during days, nights, and sometimes at lunch. Like tomorrow, we'll be doing a lunch development stream for an Azorius Battlemaster using the martial power system. So if you want to check this stuff out, you can. We're currently on episode 291. We created this book cover back in episode 15. So you can click on the full playlist, listed here. I can change the language on that, but this is the playlist for all of it, so you can check episode 15 to see us creating this cover. I say, like I said, we run a game, we'll do play testing. If it plays well, we'll wordsmith it so it's all fleshed out using 5e code. We'll hire an editor to make sure that the words are good and that it does what we need it to do, like it's expressing what it's supposed to. Once we have all of that stuff taken care of, we break down all the ideas into digestible bites that we can put on a page. Once we get done parsing out all of the information, let's find a page to parse out that we're working on today. So let's scroll down here to the wild system generator that we have here in Appendix 1. Appendix 2 is the conversion, it's like a 20-page conversion guide for Light of Xeraxis, using all these mechanics in Light of Xeraxis as a showcase of how these mechanics can integrate and be used with Spelljammer Adventures in Space from Wizards of the Coast last year. So we'll have a page here. Here's the space that we have left on the page. We'll export this as a PDF into Photoshop here. It becomes a PSD. We then start illustrating, and when it is done being illustrated, we will extract everything and bring it back into the Word document. We have a couple instances of integrating images into the block. So hold on real quick here. Let's go up to here we go. Here's an instance. We drop this image in. See, it's an image that's sitting underneath the text on the page. So once we merpadoodle, right? Thank you. So yeah, we set in there. We have it. We line everything up. Once everything's lined up, we create the PDF. We seal it up. We publish on the DMsGuild. This has a bunch of tokens that come along with it. Hey, good morning. How are you? Let me get my shit on screen here. Karen, it's good to see you. There we go. We've got our timer going so we don't fall into any tangent or eddy too far. When we last left off, we were building a world of hot temperature. Roll a d3 on your temperature table. Unnatural heat. Each creature takes d6 fire damage per minute unless it has resistance to fire damage. To 3 extreme heat. See Chapter 5 of the DMG where it goes into exhaustion mechanics about sticking around in a hot place too long. Temperate environment is a 4 to 7 out of 10. Typical range of temperatures: extreme cold, unnatural cold, and by default, worlds made of fire and magma are unnaturally hot, while worlds made of ice are unnaturally cold. There's a 75% chance worlds made of fire and magma are inhospitable instead. Worlds of fire and magma deal d6 fire damage at the end of each round. A creature and object occupying adjacent squares of the same scale to those worlds in wild space, and 20d6 of those occupying the same square. For example, a fire world that occupies a 1 million mile square deals 10d6 fire damage to anything within 1 million miles, and 20d6 to anything within the same 1 million mile square space occupied by the world. There you go. Lava world, you betcha. This would be in the unnaturally hot environment, although if you go for a skinny dip, you're going to find it's inhospitable. But yeah, this is a world that evolved from the heat and stuff, so we've gotten. I'm pretty happy with this base background. I've got some framing to do to like straighten out this edge and stuff, but the bones are there. The bones are good, as the song would say. So what we are going to do now is, oh, sickle catty. I take the week off during the holidays, so yeah, mine wasn't long enough either. I could happily spend forever doing this instead of a day job, but you know, we give unto Caesar what is Caesar's until we become our own. But yeah, it was a good time. It was very creative. I had time with family. It was nice to be able to disengage from the 9 to 5 for a while. It was good, but definitely never long enough. Yeah, they you know, if you have a sense of purpose, you're never on vacation. You're just taking a break from your purpose. So, cheers to that. Let's explore space a little bit. So, let's see. Let's go with a very. I'm gonna do something maybe like that. How's that sit? Yeah, let's do that. We're going to create some unnatural environment. So, along with it would evolve some unnatural flora and fauna. How about, let's see what this one does. What does this button do? Uh-oh. Let's go to brush settings. Dynamic. Projector. Zegama Beach. We can now spin our brush. All right, cool. Spin active. Let us just tap in some stuff. Yeah, let's build to there, and let's create. Let's use not that one. Why you no spin? I'm looking for my tech. Hold on. There it is. Spin. Right now we're just creating texture, just to rough up the environment a little bit. I'm thinking about unnatural plants that live off of heat. So I'm just going to treat it like a normal forest environment, or like grassy knoll or whatever this ends up being. I don't really know the scale that we're operating at right now, but I'm just going to treat. I'm going to use atypical brushes to create similar results. So it'll have a similar feel to the type of terrain that we're used to, but it will be unusual by nature. Break that texture up a little bit. Yeah, neat. We'll see what it does. Let's drop the opacity on that just a touch, and we'll switch to something else. There we go. Gonna layer in some texture. Not really sure where it's gonna go, but we're kind of just in bonus time. I'm just kind of fucking around today anyway. Finding out what makes sense. Drop the eraser down to a 70% opacity, so when I erase, I leave about 30% of the color information behind on the page. So it's creating this grisly sort of effect going on here. This moss-like texture, which I think is pretty much perfect for what I was looking to do. Pretty happy with that. Drop down the size of the brush here to have consistent language about scaling distance here in the background. Yep. Try white flowers. Would work too. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Let's find something. That'll be interesting. Space. Beep, 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 beep. That's weird. Unacceptable. Let's find something different. I think the color will work though. I just need to find the right thing to connect it to. Oh, let's do this. How about something like this? This little triangle up here in the corner, right? I'm looking at this triangle. This triangle says that color is unnatural. It doesn't actually exist in nature. So I have to curve the color line, the slider bar here. You know, I know this is green because the green is further than anything else. So that's a place I can start with this effort. We'll see how it pans out. So we're gonna do this. No, we need to be. Yeah, we need a full eraser here. Yeah, not a fan of that. There. I'm much happier with this. So let's get rid of that. And then we'll drop the we'll drop the little white flower tufts over this. We're just using this as a base dark to blend in with the red underneath to have some good contrast going on. I like the light dark, like the value dichotomy light and dark against it. So the grit is good, even if the color I don't know because I don't. For anyone that's new out there, I don't see any color. So everything I do has to be literally by the numbers using the RGB slider up here. So I certainly appreciate backseat driving from anyone that has an idea about it because I really am just guessing. But I know how to do the texturing and technique. It's just a matter of what sort of colors am I going to use for the environment, and we're just going with a weird warm, like a general warm color palette to work with the unnatural heat world that we're dealing with. So we can have plants and stuff that make sense from a fantasy perspective. It's being built into a world that's made of heat. So kind of like any other like serial TV show, almost any world can have life growing on it. It's just how alien is that life going to be as a result of where it's developing. And so that's one of the fun things you can explore with Spelljammer. And so I'm trying to hopefully reflect that ideal inside of these environments that we create to help create that fantastical. But it has this has a very, very similar feel of texture to anything else, any other landscape environment that I would do, which is exactly what I want. Because I want to have that familiarity but weirdness, you know. And I think the colors are going all, I mean, just hunching off of it, but I think the colors that we're choosing here are going to work for the lava realm that we're building here. And maybe it'll inspire some newer DMs that are interested in exploring worlds and stuff to consider how they can make familiar odd and integrate it into a world as alien, even though it's going to use the same general physics and you know, strange but familiar is the term I believe I'm looking for. But layering the different types of brush textures onto this is how you can get a really good looking environment, like a natural plant type tarmac. Tarmac is like soil, ground, loam. These are all similar terms to each other. I like the word tarmac in particular because of Moody Blues, but that's just me. You may be a loam person yourself. No wrong answers. See, okay, so check this out. So I'm using this brush here, right? And then, but when I erase, I have to turn the brush because the so here's up for this bush, and using the same, when I switch it to the eraser, look, my eraser is almost upside down. See, that's how it comes in, like this. So every time I'm doing this technique, I tap, and then I rotate the brush over half, and then I tap that and erase the base. And then I rotate it back around a half circle, and it's back online, so I can do that. And then I roll it again. So I'm rolling the pen back and forth because the brush top, like up, is oriented differently currently. So here's my eraser like this. You see where the arrow is off to the right hand side? That means that this is level. But I betcha, yep, see, this is tilted. So this is at an angle from where this, see, this is straight, this is at an angle, so it has that pitch to it. It's not an important detail, it's just something that happens. And let's do that. So while I'm doing this technique, I'm tap, 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 tap. It's a fun little... I didn't do it on purpose. I'm just observing that it's there. Anyway. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I imagine that's amazing. One of my hopes when I die is that I get to see it. When I'm released from the machinery that defines my environment, and I can see things as a plain soul, I suspect I'll have an opportunity to look back at all the stuff that I did. That'd be my payoff. And if you're a subscriber to the multiversal theory that we're living out multiple lives at the same time to be able to collapse time frames of evolving as a soul, then all the different versions of me are producing other books. So when I die and I get to go back, I get to dive into the archive and see all the things that I built and all the different realities of the different me that pursued different passions. In another reality, I was a huge Curse of Strahd fan, so I built tons of Curse of Strahd machinery and made for different unique Curse of Strahd experiences. But that is not this life. This life is very much, well, whatever the fuck this is. Whatever it is that I'm doing here. Let's, ooh, that's a pixely brush, isn't it? Let's drop down. Let's drop the bass. We go down to here. And we're going to switch to this as our eraser because that's where the shadow is coming from for these plants. So it should make sense. And I'm using this 80% opacity here. So as I tap into it, it creates little natural shadow spots for the flower tips that we're creating here. And I'm going to pull this over like that to cover that ridge there. Erase, tap and erase, tap and erase, tap and erase. It's easy to build them. Excellent. I'm happy to hear it. Thank you. A lot of color is actually value contrast, value being the scale of white to black. As long as your colors are working, contrast is, the experts, those that are better at color theory than I am, that I listen to videos of, right, to learn how to do my shits. A lot of them say that the real secret is being able to develop contrast inside of your piece. And that like in the product development industry where like you're designing a new car or like a new coffee maker or something, it has to be designed, it has to have a look. And these what do you call them, concept designers, right? The concept designers will work in gray so that they can get the paneling right, and then they'll have a select, but the colors, the gray colors they choose will be like, we'll have like maybe they'll have on palette like a green, a blue, and I don't know, maybe like an off gray, but they'll all be in the same relative band of value, like on a scale of 1 to 10. The color palette they work with this year might be like 5 to 7. So they'll have an array of colors that all fit, that all look natural at that level of that mid-tone gray. Because there's something called planners. And there has to be a production pipeline for content, for the materials to be created. The raw materials that can be manufactured into goods. Like textiles need to be built for fabric. Paints have to be mixed for cars, and they all have a production pipeline that's a lot further out than here's the new 2024 Ford Corolla. It took like 4 years for the paint and all the materials to be lined up to make that Corolla. So that Corolla, the 2024 Corolla, has been in production for 4 years. We just don't see it until the tail end. Think about that for fashion as well. The clothing that people purchase, the trends in shoes and dress, and like even makeup and like wall decor, that all goes through that same production pipeline. So what you see in fashion this year was planned, was created and orchestrated by the planners potentially 3 or 4 years ago. So that's why couture, like couture design, like the artsy, like the high-end artsy sort of clothing that you see. That stuff tends to be, as I understand it, about like 10 years out, where you could potentially see that stuff, ideas of that stuff fall into the mainstream population, because it has to convert from art idealism into practical product. So there's a thinning down in radicalism in design and concept into something that's more generally digestible to the public. And the designers that can shift gear from the exotic to the mundane and be desirable are the people that end up winning in the fashion industry. But it has to, again, it all has to be planned out ahead. You need to know what textiles are coming down line that you're going to have to work with for your clothing to catch, right? You have to be able to have a design that blends well with what's in cycle. So so the point of that was the YouTube artists, and I listened to the shitload of different YouTube artists that all have advice on how to do what they do and how they did it specifically, just like I do. But a lot of these industry professionals will talk about that production pipeline, and the point is that they'll commonly say the biggest problem that most professional artists have is separating the illusion of color from the workflow process that they're in. Like it doesn't do them any good. Here, I'm gonna do this. Let's leave that. There's an unnatural shadow effect happening here that shouldn't be. So I need to drop in here and create an angle. Get rid of the overlap to help seal up that gap a little bit. There. I might be overdoing it, so I'm going to drop all these things off. I'm going to come at this again with less frequency. It was just looking too soupy, too pixel splash, so I wanted to back off the intensity there a little bit. Up the brush there a little bit since I'm trimming. I want to create just some more spottiness, a little inconsistency here in the terrain, just to break it up into chunks. So, yeah, I can do that by reducing the circle and then increasing the size. It helps flatten. I'll use this manipulation like this to help shape. Like up here at the ridge, I want to have a wider curve so it domes more. But then as I move forward in the page, it flattens out the terrain, right? So I can use the flattening brush to go from curve down to flat. It's another process. It's another part of the foreshortening effect that you can create with this type of brush work. So? Without flowers. With that's the fucking little heart icon. I hate that. Yeah, with no flowers. Yeah. Little blank patches. That's gonna help bring it in a little bit better. Nah, I did not like that. If I flatten it too much, it loses its flavor. Yeah, that's not natural. See, it has these unnatural ridges here that I need to properly address. So I'm going to flip it over and use a really low opacity of the same brush so that it has like this undercurve, like this curling effect. Tarmac flowers. Hey, Zona, how you doing? that into the canvas. Not worry about what it is yet specifically. I feel like it's some sort of a structure, but I don't particularly care about its specifics yet. I just want to get the language in here, help break up the terrain a little bit. Kind of thinking about the flow of the picture and how a good way to separate foreground from background is to create barriers and obstacles, things that are just natural borders that cut off one portion of a piece from another. And so I am in the process here of attempting to manipulate that space here. So I'm adding a layering mask. It makes anything that I brush over invisible. See, it's still there, but I'm making a layering mask to break this part of the piece away from each other. And I'm trying to do a very gentle, delicate fade, so it just naturally bleeds in from here out into the text space, but it creates that degree of separation, just enough. While I'm here, I may as well clean up the edges. There's my square. This square brush is a godsend. There. So through here, and now we can smudge this in to hopefully have a smoother transition. This is me procrastinating and avoiding continuing the foreground because I'm letting it percolate for a few minutes to sort itself out inside my head what it's supposed to be. I don't actually need to know it right now because I've got another task at hand, right? So this is a way for me to create space but still be productive during the process. Sometimes I see a little blitz on the screen. I don't know if it's like smudge from a brush or if it's just real world, like I sneezed or something and now there's spit on the screen or something. It's gross, sure. But like But I don't know until I see like a little bip. I'm like, what is that bip? And then sometimes I'll try to erase it like in 20 different layers before I'm like, hold on. Whip it. God damn it. Just a waste of time. Takes a little effort and some patience to blend all this stuff in properly, but once we do, it looks pretty good. Arrgh! Wrong button. I have to balance the organic sloping of the space and the framing for the text, which is a bit of a noodle, but I think I do it okay. Like, I don't want to have it unnaturally, like I don't want to just like a clean break. Like, it doesn't feel natural like that unless it's really close framing. I have examples of that in other illustrations in the book where it is a tighter frame like that, but I need to look at the composition, like where does that help versus where does that actually hinder me. So, and I think in this space here we're doing okay. That feels pretty good. See, now I have this degree of separation. I have like this plausible deniability of how close is this structure to this foreground, because I've got a gap. And that gap is letting me cheat the narrative. That feels pretty good. Cool. Okay, so now that I have that degree of separation, I can build this like a fortress back here as I needed a point of interest back here to break up this environment because of where it's located over the world temperature. This is a natural focal point for interest for those that are reading the page. So I have to be thinking about what is the illustration attempting to express and achieve, and what is the page attempting to achieve, and how can I make the illustration that I'm working on complement and work with the page, which is the whole point of doing couture art that is designed specifically for the document that we're creating, to have that level of customization. Doesn't necessarily make it great stock art for me just to pick up this weird shaped image and have it available out there for somebody, but I could come through and flesh out lower terrain in here and flesh it all the way out like down to this line here. I could just keep adding in stuff, or like continue with this this black smoke upwards, so I could build this into like a third, like pretty easily into into a space like roughly this size. So it'd be a half page environment illustration. But I don't need that right now, so I'm not going to bother. But one of the things I do need to do, especially when we convert the color mana spell point variant rule books When the new rules come out in 2024, there's like 90 illustrations throughout those 6 different books that are all custom shaped like this just to accommodate the space on the page, that I can then peel out, rebuild as stock art, and then bundle up. And I might use Spotify or Shoply, Shopify. That's what it's called. Shopify and my Patreon, as well as DTRPG, to start placing stock art. I don't spend a lot of time on packaging. I don't like slowing down and building product pages when I could be painting something else. So in that sense, I'm still very self-sabotaging, that I could take this as a business a lot further than I have if I would bother with the administrative side of running the business. Of, like I said, like I don't like doing packaging, but if I don't package things, I can't put them up for sale. So like there's a lot more stuff I could have out there for people to buy if I'd stop being an artist and be a businessman for a few minutes and start building out shit. But I haven't matured into that space yet. I'm still fulfilling the fantasy of being an artist playing with Wizard or with D&D IP. So I think once that childhood fantasy is satisfied, I think I'll be able to approach this more professionally. And yeah, and just do more. So I'm gonna blend this in. A bit. Little detail, but there. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Cool. All right, so let's see. Let's build some more. I deem thee trash. Far Fortress. Let's see. What do I want to... I don't know really what this thing is. It's some sort of... I mean, obviously it's some... Hold on. I need to get rid of that. Let's go back to the circle. It's like a rock or some sort of rise. Yeah, I needed to break up the shape a bit there to just to break it. Like this is a patch that's decent because it's interesting, but having it just stretch forever in any direction becomes monotonous. That's why you want to have changes and breaks like that occasionally throughout the piece. And since I'm dropping that in there like that, I'm going to pick that up like that, and then we're going to grab this. There, that helps ground it a little bit into the space that it's in while we figure out what exactly it is that we're doing here. How are we doing on time? 7:12. We still have 40 minutes. Okay. I don't want to fuck around with this like shoreline, but I want to break up that shape into stuff. Oh, that's not the right place to have that, so we want to break that down. Let's break that down. We can leave this here. Make a little. Let's grab yeah, I have no idea what those are, but they apparently grow. So let's clean up the twigs here. Yeah. I'm thinking like some sort of, yeah, like some sort of crystal or something that has magical properties. Maybe they can be made maybe they can be made into potions, or like if you have gunpowder in your game, like if you use pistols and stuff, maybe the gunpowder is created from these little fruits that grow on this fire tree, which would make sense, right? So you have to grind it into a powder, and that's what makes the gunpowder. It's the dried resin of the fire seed or whatever, which would make coming to this planet valuable if you want to have that kind of weapon system available on your ship, or to your nation or whatever. But then you have to go get it. So harvesting explosives off of a lava planet sounds like a crazy fucking thing to do, which would be appropriate for fantasy setting. So taking the idea of a tree and then bending it so that I'm trying to use unnatural colors to express the familiar but strange, right? Like blue pods growing on the branches of a bare tree. That's a mood. Create a little bit of ground texture here. I feel like this should actually be yeah, this might be the best place for that. Let's dot some of these on. Well, hello. Sup, Dropkicks? How you doing today? That's probably enough. A little pop. Probably good enough. Switch back to the circle. Text. Glad to hear it. What's new on the horizons for you today? There's these there's the little outcroppings that I was fucking around with like 40 minutes ago. I was like, that doesn't feel right, but now here we are again, back at it, building these little pillar things. It's like, I guess those work. Guess those work after all. Stub that up. Stub it up, 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 it up. I'm gonna make a stubby plant over here. Stub it up, yeah, we're gonna make a stubby plant. We're gonna make it living right over here now. That's why I don't do music for a living. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I'm on Raw. I like this song. Point of interest. Maybe that's not a fortress at all. Maybe that's just another tree. This will be the last day we're working on this illustration. We'll move on to the next piece tomorrow. And there's a decent chance I'm not going to have this finished in the next 20 minutes. We'll get close, but we won't quite get there. So if you want to see the final piece, you'll have to pick up the book. This will be in the free preview, I'm sure. What is happening? Why are you like you are? Oh, that's why. Oh my fuck all. Thank you. Jesus. Free transform. Let's flip horizontal. Let's do that. Yeah? Yeah, absolutely. Here, since you're talking about it. This is the sketch for the next illustration we're going to do. We're going to do Anadia, but the inhabitants. So to determine the inhabitants of a world, roll on the table below and include all results equal to and less than the number rolled. So you'll roll a d20, and you can see 1 to 4. This world has no native creatures, but there is a small population of non-native creatures. Roll a d8 plus 10 on this table. d8 plus 10 is going to be a range of 9 through 18. So it'll be beasts, humanoids, monstrosities, aberrations, elementals, fae, and undead. Something inside of this range here. And we have these asterisks that are going on. So plants. The result indicates plant creatures specifically. A result of 13 or less, which would include monstrosities, humanoids, beasts, and plants. Result of 13 or less includes plant foods suitable for grazing and cultivation by native creatures unless noted otherwise. Such as in 1 to 4, the world has no native creatures. So basically you have a band of 5 to 13 on the D20 table, where you're going to have plants, beasts, humanoids, and potential monstrosities that naturally evolve on the planet with a base food, a food base, a base plant food that the creatures are able to then cascade up from plants, beasts, humanoids, and monstrosities. And then you have the double asterisk, which is the results indicates plant food doesn't naturally grow in this world, but may have scarce amounts present. So it's just a fun little table to be able to manipulate stuff. So if you have undead, if you roll an 18, you'll have everything that you would expect to be inside of a normal world, like Forgotten Realms or Eberron or whatever. You would have the normal array of different types of creatures that exist inside the world naturally. And then everything else is just manipulating that. So, and as we go further and further up the ladder, we're moving into more and more fantastical creatures. Like plants, beasts, humanoids, monstrosities, and aberrations. Those are things that have physical bodies. They potentially souls and are bound to the world that like they would naturally be created from or exist on the world that they are, no matter how nightmarish they are in appearance as an aberration. But once you cross that point of aberration into elementals, now you're looking at unnatural creatures. But the baseline of unnatural creation inside of a world is going to be elementals, because the world consists of elements that are, the elementals are like physical spirits that would find themselves on this world. Then fae are spirits that find themselves with physical bodies, not physical bodies that are spirits. They're spirits that then create physical bodies. That's like pixies, sprites, will-o-wisps, and stuff like that. And then you have undead, which are physical bodies that are still animated even though they have no spirit. Or they're all spirit. The incorporeal ones are all spirit that are perverted. So you move further and further away from natural biology into natural physicality of the planet itself as elements, and then you get into integrating spirit with body, and then you get body devoid of spirit, or spirits untethered from bodies. That's how that cascade sort of works from natural primordial existence moving further forward. The reason there is an argument that elementals would be before plants, but I think there needs to be, in this expression, elementals are somewhat unnatural, even though they're built of elements. They're like there has to be enough. The way to look at it, like there has to be enough life energy in the planet to animate the elementals in the first place. Like a barren rock isn't going to be covered in rock elementals because the rock itself is inert. There has to be enough psychic or life force energy inside of an environment to be able to start pulling elements into existence, or to animate the elements that the world is made from. And once you get to that level of diffusion, that's when spirits start to manifest unto themselves into the world, like I just said, the Fae. And then they can sustain even if they don't have spirits, which is the undead. So that's the cascade there. So to your point, yes, there very well could be nothing that naturally lives here, but it has harvestable resources, which makes it a desirable place to visit, just like you said. But it could also have a number of creatures that are just natural to its environment. Inhospitable worlds, again, just a look again here. Worlds of fire and magma deal fire damage each round. Oh, wait, that's not the point I was trying to make. Oh, there you go. Wait, where was it? I had a blurb. There's a fucking blurb. Where did it go? Ah, there it is. Duh. By default, the quality of air and water for creatures native to the world are considered fresh. I could swear. Unless it has resistance to fire damage. Okay, I feel like I need to add a blurb somewhere somehow that creatures born into these environments are native to them. I think I cover it here, the default, but I think I could be more clear with that. We'll see. Anyway. Yeah, that feels good. Ugh, that tree is haggard. Less haggard, Mr. Tree. I need to do a little bit of something over here to help transition from this space into this space. It's like some sort of something going on like this. And then I need filler stuff down in here. But otherwise, maybe some stuff along here. I don't think I need anything. Maybe some texture back here. There's maybe like I have maybe like another hour or so to go on this painting. And it's 7:40 now, so I'm not gonna get through it. But I see where it needs to go. So I'm going to start on a different piece tomorrow. That I am certain. Oops. Let's take all that back. Take it back. There. Oh yeah, that reminds me. There was another piece that we finished that we never got around to. Was it this one? Yeah. There you go. I think it turned out okay. No complaint. It's not the best piece I've ever done. I need to fix his hair a little bit. It looks a little shitty. Her hair looks a little shitty. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how this piece turned out. So. Here, if you really want to take a look, you can pause. Not my best work, but there aren't all going to be natural 20s. We're gonna have some 12s and 10s in the mix, even some 4s. And that was another piece that I did not finish on stream because it got close enough that at that point I was just mincing details, and I didn't want to spend a lot of stream time fucking around with details when it's not as exciting. Too much. Bong, dong, 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 bong. I like this song a lot. Got another page done for the you see I'm distracting myself. The Lazarax's conversion guide. Still work in progress, but we've got the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. this up for a second. This is a tangent. Obviously. This is how we do break up the text. When we finish this guide, all this, like, we'll need to have a boat illustration here, and then the different weapon icons, and like when there's ship crew, like Starbow and Commodore Crux, Mr. Flinch, and Fel Ardra. We have these little gaps over here. Each one of these is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This 8-line tall space here creates a little pocket that's consistent with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All of these have this border here. And we can drop a character illustration in here, and that's a consistent formatting that we have so far throughout the book. The crew, for the even snare, we have like a void pirate here, a Neogi void pirate. The hulking brutes will have the we'll have a Neogi here, and then we'll have Umber Hulks here, and then we'll have enslaved commoners here, along with the same weapon, and then even snare, Night Spider token here. So once I get all these done, I will, when this is done, we'll probably be done with the landscape pictures, and we should be close to actually done with this full document. Right now I'm kicking through at the rate of 1 page per evening off stream, and you can see like these little boxes that I have here. These are where maps go. We'll have I think we're putting a map in this space too. But I put these rectangles in here to help sculpt the shape of the page to make sure that everything fits in the way that I want it to. But once we have all that in, we'll also come back here and we'll do this on stream, dropping all the image assets, the tokens and stuff into position on the page, so we can flesh those out. And right now it's a separate document, but once it's done, I'll be able to select all, copy, and then drop it into here. At the tail end of this book. So this is what I'm working on in the evenings right now off screen, and it's currently 23 pages, and I'm done with 12 of the 20. I think 12, is that right? Living on the Edge. Here, aesthetic. This is the page that I'm on right now. This is page 12 of 23. This is what we're processing. We're going through the statistics for the aesthetic and the Rieger battle with Hastane, and then over here when we get all that, we'll have to rearrange this text, but we're reformatting. I didn't like the way that we broke up the creatures, the machine, the vehicles, and the action economy of both, so I've been reformatting all of that into this much more separated by siege machine or vehicle, the statistics for that, and then facing is the actual crew itself. So you have the machines and the weapon, the vehicle, the weapons, and then the crew that man them. That's the order of presentation for each of the challenges that we have here. And we have a consistent format now that we can do that. The second wind is the ship that you're aboard during the second act. So the second wind, the weapons that are on there, from largest and most integrated down to like you have the ship, and then you have melee weapons on the ship, and then you have siege weapons that are aboard the ship, and then you have the mounted weapons that are aboard the ship, because the siege weapons deal in large scale while the mounted weapons are anti-personnel stuff. So it goes from largest to smallest objects. And then across from that is the actual crew, from the leader of the ship to the pilot to auxiliary crew members. And then if you have just generic crew, like siege crew, like NPC, siege crew commoners, those come last. Like the Ibn Snare here, the Night Spider ship, it has the commander of the ship, and then it has its brutes, which are the Umber Hulks. Oh, this is the wrong page. Hold on. Yeah, Ibn Snare. You have the commander of the Ibn Snare, a void pirate Neogi, and then it's brutes, which are larger, and then the slave commoners in the end. And then over here you can see the Ibn Snare ship, its rams, which are its melee weapons, its siege weapons, which are ballistas and mangonel in alphabetic order, and then its anti-personnel mounted weapons, which are harpoon slingers. So that's the structure that we're going through with this. And so we're getting through 1 page a day currently, and then we'll probably get through 2 or 3 on Saturday. But we still have a lot of work to do and reformat. I just didn't like the formatting of it, and I was finding a hard time integrating the maps, the diagrams, and the illustrations that I wanted in this section. I wasn't finding it flowing smoothly, so I had to rebuild. I'm rebuilding the whole thing basically, and simplifying the language and stuff. It's an added task that I knew was on the horizon last month. But I'm processing it fast enough that it should still be finished by the end of January. At least that's I do not need to save that. I do not need to save this. Don't save. So that's another side thing that I've got going on here. There's a few things I need to get done on this piece for me to be able to actually call it done, but they're high quality of life efforts, so it'll just help lock this thing down as really fucking strong once they're done. But this is really great. That process that we're going through, I've never published. I've created layers and encounters. I've written them as different projects with different publishers, but I've never created my own adventure. So I am enjoying the discovery process here with Lyzaraxis, because once we get into the Eberron adventure later on, probably in March, that everything that we're learning here with Lyzaraxis will be able to be applied to and expedite the work that we do with the Eberron adventure once we have that all cleaned up. So everything is working out exactly as it needs to for me to be able to build the skill set that I need to achieve the objectives that we had set out for ourselves this year. So I'm really happy about that. Yeah, this guy looks pretty good. I like this. Gotta taper those tips. So having little lines, like rough lines like that don't feel proper. So you have to kind of take a little razor and thin that down. And we'll do the same thing with this here in a minute. And I'm going to have to start bundling assets, the art assets, into the zip file. I'm going to break up all the tokens that we did. I'm going to do generic creature tokens. I'm going to do a Spelljammer creature token pack, like 15, 20 different creature tokens that we had already produced. I'm going to put them into a separate package and put that on DMsGuild maybe a few days early, and then when we actually publish this book, we'll have all the Lyzaraxis characters, all the monsters from Lyzaraxis, as well as all the ships in the game, all the fightercraft and stuff, part of this book, and then we can use the creature token. The creature tokens aren't necessary for anything that we have in here other than the creature's menagerie. But we can use the monster token packet as a means to create a coupon, make it like 15 creature illustrations for like $5 or something, and then create a bundle where both the creature tokens and this book are in the same bundle together, so we could drop the cost of the creature tokens in that bundle down to like $1. And like if we made this, actual book $20, but then put it in the bundle for 15, then you'd be able to get $25 worth of stuff for $16. So it'll have like a 30% discount and then I advertise the bundle, not the book. I advertise the bundle that the book is in, so that when you're first shown the bundle of books, you're being given a discount. It's like, if you buy these things, here's all the stuff that you get, and you get them at this 30% discount. Like that's a marketing strategy that's worked really well for me with the Color Mana. If you check the Color Mana Spell Point bundle down below, you'll see similar. There's like $40 worth of books that are offered for like $17 or something. So it's a ridiculous percent off. It's just good marketing. And by creating a bundle like that, as we create more things, we can keep adding them to the bundle to create a larger array of stuff at a growing discounted rate, just like you see with the Color Mana bundle that I have down below. I like creating bundles like that. They're very effective. What's up? Hey, Finger. Yeah. Hey, welcome to the mix. Yeah. Here's, if you haven't seen it, I show off the book cover every morning. Here and here, and so here's the book cover. Whoop. And then here's about as big as it appears on the rail of like new releases. And then the book itself, it's 106 pages. It'll probably end up being 104 pages after I optimize everything. And it has like 8 maps for Light of Zaraxis encounters. It's got 80 tokens between the ships, the fighter craft, the creatures, all the NPCs that are in Light of Zaraxis itself. And here's the full page outline. I do everything in Microsoft Word. That's my layout program of preference. Here you can see all of it, and we're working on. There's 2 appendices: the Random System Generator, and the conversion guide for Light of Zaraxis. So we've got everything done except for the layout, rebuilding the layouts for Light of Zaraxis, like I was just showing, but all the illustrations, charts, and diagrams for it are done. We just need to build the page to integrate them into, and all of the illustrations in the first 80 pages of the book are done, except for this page here, world compositions. We don't need an illustration on the Random System Generator page itself, but the wild, we need an illustration here. We need an illustration here. We're working on the illustration here, and we have a sketch, but need to build the illustration here, and that's the end of the chapter. So we have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 illustrations to finish beyond the one that we're working on right now. Bloop. 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 See. And so once this is done, once we have these, and environment illustrations are pretty easy for me to do. Like I've been demonstrating. It's pretty easy for me to flow through these things. It just takes a little bit of time. Let's reduce this down so it's not competing. There. That feels better. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to trim that down because it's unnaturally heavy like that. That feels more natural. Cool. And merge that down. It's a good book. It's good. It's good mechanics. This is my best project ever. I'm incredibly proud of the Color Mana Spell Point variant rules. That is an amazing piece of work, and I am eternally thankful for being the one that transmitted it. But I think there's not nearly as many people interested in Magic the Gathering as there are people interested in Spelljammer. So this book is more mechanically complicated, like it's more mechanically detailed. It required more playtesting and variant mechanic rules to make it work than the color mana system did. And this is also the biggest book I've ever. I mean, it's 104 pages. The core mechanics for the color mana book is only 75, and a good 30 of them, of that 75 pages, a good 30 of them is just spell lists for different classes and stuff. So this is by far the most advanced work that I've ever done, and it's turning out pretty fucking amazing, to be honest. I can say that because I continue to profess that these things are just, well, you see how I paint. I design the same way. Ideas are fed to me from inspiration, and then I work the inspiration. I'm fed a narrative, and then I use my brain to logic out how that narrative can be expressed mechanically using 5e mechanics, and then I build a book out of it. Well, I'll play test it, and then I build a book out of it. If the playtesting doesn't work, we have to go back and get more inspiration. But once the bones are good, from there it's just making it pretty. And for a long time, I was doing freelance illustration for third-party publishers, and I wasn't getting anywhere. So I was like, if I keep getting hired by these people making books, maybe I should make books so I can hire myself. And I don't have to worry about how much am I getting paid per picture. The pictures facilitate the book, and I can start thinking about how useful is this book to other people. My illustrations just happen to be in it as a cost reduction option, instead of me hunting for non-specific artwork that vaguely fits what I'm trying to do in the project. Instead, I can use my training to build specifically the type of illustrations that I want to express what's going on in the book. So everything I do is custom, a custom couture design, as it were, for the ideas that I create. Let's drop this down. There. And we are, oh shit, it's 8 o'clock. This is, hey Finger, thanks a lot, man. It's, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you're on board with it. Yeah, it's, I'm really fucking looking forward to it. So I gotta go. It's 8 o'clock. It's time for me to go give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. I'm going to continue working on this piece off screen. I've got like maybe an hour or so of fucking around with it, but obviously I'm at the point where I'm just kind of pushing pixels around, and I need the next burst of inspiration for me to finish off this corner over here to get this taken care of. But so when we come back tomorrow, I may or may not, I'll have this finished by Saturday, off screen on my own time. But when we come back tomorrow, we're going to start working on the next piece. And so yeah. Oh shit, it's Thursday. I'll be back on tonight in about 11 hours. I'll be back on to work on more Eberron creature token art. So you can catch up with me then tonight if you want. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow morning. Tomorrow at lunch, we'll be doing an Azorius fighter battle master as a practical example of building characters using the martial power system that we've been developing. And then on Saturday morning, we'll be back continuing to build the Ravnica Rubble Belt Hexcrawl campaign that we're going to use as a playtest environment for the martial power system. And then I'll have a video released on Sunday. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be about, but we'll have one because we do one every Sunday. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me, and thanks for the good words. See you guys soon. Cheers.